1975, a year when the nation was healing, the clubs were sweating, and soul music hit a frequency so deep, so electric, that some artists only needed one shot to leave a mark that never faded. We're talking about the artists who walked up to the microphone, poured everything they had into a single groove, climbed the Billboard charts, and then the spotlight moved on. But the music stayed. Today on Groove Lens, we count down 10 R&B one-hit wonders from 1975, and I promise you, number 1 is going to stop you cold. Let's ride. Number 10, Where Is the Love, Betty Wright. Kicking off our countdown is Betty Wright with Where Is the Love, released in 1975 on Alston Records, a silky, soul-drenched ballad that cut straight to the bone. Wright had already given Miami soul its teeth with Clean Up Woman back in 1971, but that earlier record never cracked the R&B top 5. Where Is the Love did climbing all the way to number 3 on the Billboard Hot Soul Singles chart and announcing Betty Wright as something more than a one-trick firecracker. You said I'd be the only one. Written by Harry Wayne Casey and Richard Finch, the same KC who was about to launch KC and the Sunshine Band into the stratosphere. Promise me you don't need a baby. The track revealed a softer, more searching side of Wright that radio had never heard before. Tender strings, a restrained vocal, something aching underneath the polish. Well, here was a woman who had spent years belting raw, gritty soul, and suddenly she dropped something so vulnerable, so quiet in its pain, that the whole industry stopped and listened. And then never quite figured out what to do with her next. One top 5 hit, one stunning left turn, and a career that deserved so much more spotlight than it got. Number 9, It Should Have Been Me, Yvonne Fair. Yvonne Fair, It Should Have Been Me, released in 1975 on Motown's Mo West imprint. One of the most ferocious vocal performances to ever sneak into the top 5 of the R&B chart, and one of the most heartbreaking stories in all of soul music. He turned to me. Fair had been a road warrior for years, singing backup for James Brown, cutting records for King in the 60s, earning her place in the tradition the hard way. The preacher joined there. And when Motown finally gave her a real shot, she delivered a track that peaked at number 5 on the Billboard Hot Soul Singles chart. Should have been me! No! Written and produced by Norman Whitfield, the genius behind the Temptations' entire psychedelic soul era, the song hit like a freight train. But here's the twist. You made a promise that Motown had held this recording back for years before finally releasing it. A shelving decision that still baffles soul historians and music archivists today. Oh, it should have been me. By the time It Should Have Been Me finally hit radio, Fair had already lost the narrow window for a follow-up. The machinery wasn't ready. The moment had almost passed. One crushing irony. Baby, how can you do this to me? The song that finally freed her from the shadows of other people's careers also marked the beginning of the end of her own mainstream moment. A voice that deserved decades, a spotlight that lasted months.
Then the preacher, oh yeah.
Number 8, I Want to Do Something Freaky to You, Leon Haywood. Number 8 is a track that became more famous after 1975 than it ever was when it first dropped. Leon Haywood with I Want to Do Something Freaky to You on 20th Century Record. And trust me, you have heard this groove before, even if you don't know Haywood's name.
In the valley of love, in the valley of love, I'm on.
The record peaked at number 3 on the Billboard Hot Soul Singles Chart in 1975, and Haywood's spoken word delivery made it feel like the most self-possessed man in any room was leaning over and whispering the entire song just to you. Intimate, unhurried, completely in control. What makes Haywood remarkable is that he wrote and produced this track himself, a level of creative ownership that was still relatively rare for an independent R&B artist navigating the mid-70s music industry. And then, in 1992, Dr. Dre pulled that slow-burning bass line from the floor and built Nothing But a G-Thang on top of it. One of the most celebrated hip-hop records ever made, launching an entire West Coast sound and earning Haywood a permanent place in the sample credit of music history. But Haywood himself never came close to matching Freaky on the charts. One groove, one fingerprint, one song that quietly changed everything it touched.
I wanna do something freaky to you.
Listen, 90% of you watching right now aren't subscribed yet. If these stories are blowing your mind, imagine what you're missing. Hit subscribe, turn on that bell, and join the 200,000 R&B fans who never miss a Groove Lens upload.
Number 7, 7654321, Blow Your Whistle, Gary Tom's Empire. 7654321, Blow Your Whistle. Released in 1975 on PIP Records. A countdown disguised as a dance record, a horn-driven, whistle-blowing, floor-shaking anthem that hit number 5 on the Billboard R&B chart and announced itself to the world with pure, undeniable energy. Gary Toms was a New York keyboardist who had been grinding through the club circuit for years, and this track, a reworked, electrified version of British group Blue Mink's Get Up, finally gave him the breakout moment he had been chasing across an entire decade of near misses. Produced by Bill Stahl and Rick Bleiweiss, the record sold more than 30,000 copies in its very first week of release alone. A stunning first-week figure for a relatively unknown New York funk outfit operating outside the major label machine. The horns hit like a punch. The countdown structure gave every dance floor a ritual to follow. And for one blazing season in 1975, Gary Tom's Empire felt like the biggest band in any city that had a speaker loud enough to carry them. But the follow-up singles couldn't match the momentum. The spotlight moved. The Empire had only one kingdom, and they ruled it completely while it lasted. Number 6, Do It Any Way You Wanna, People's Choice. Do It Any Way You Wanna, released in 1975 on TSOP Records, a Philadelphia-born anthem that hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot Soul Singles Chart, crossed over to number 11 on the Hot 100, and went certified gold in just 3 months flat. Written and produced by Leon Huff, operating without his usual creative partner Kenny Gamble on this occasion, the track was a glorious, full-bodied invitation to surrender to the groove completely. No conditions, no instructions, just whatever feels right. Huff had signed People's Choice to Philadelphia International after seeing them tear apart a live room and believing immediately in that raw, crowd-igniting energy. The record sold over 1 million copies and later formed the melodic backbone of reggae icon Dillinger's 1977 international hit, Cocaine in My Brain, a reggae to soul pipeline that almost nobody saw coming. People's Choice had placed a minor R&B hit earlier with I Likes to Do It, but it never cracked the soul singles top 5. Do It Any Way You Wanna did, delivering 1 brilliant gold record and a permanent place in the Philly soul canon. Before the follow-ups quietly, almost apologetically, faded from the airwaves. One command, one answer, one song that still moves rooms 50 years later. Number 5, Rockin' Chair, Gwen McCrae. Number 5, Gwen McCrae with Rockin' Chair, released in 1975 on Cat Records, the TK Records Miami subsidiary. A slow, steaming R&B slow jam that hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot Soul Singles Chart, climbed to number 9 on the Hot 100, and became one of the defining sounds of a Miami summer that the world was not fully prepared for. Let me be your rocking chair. The song was written by Clarence Blowfly Reed and Willie Clark, 2 pillars of the Miami soul scene, and was conceived explicitly as an answer record to husband George McCrae's 1974 smash, Rock Your Baby. Both records lived inside Henry Stone's TK empire. Both records carried that warm, humid, irresistible Florida groove. But here is the story behind the story. Gwen McCrae was originally supposed to record Rock Your Baby herself. When producers handed that song to her husband instead, she poured every ounce of that complicated emotion. Frustration, love, determination, heat, directly into Rockin' Chair. And it shows in every single note. The follow-up singles never matched that temperature, but the record became a rare groove landmark, sampled decades later by artists from Lady Gaga to Avicii. One answer, one performance, one groove that outlasted careers built on a dozen hits. Number 4, Shame, 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 Shirley and Company. Released in early 1975 on Vibration Records, a track that hit number 1 on the Billboard Hot Soul Singles Chart, topped the dance chart for 4 consecutive weeks, and became one of the first genuinely international disco smashes in the entire history of the genre. Written and produced by Sylvia Robinson, the same visionary who would later launch hip-hop itself by signing the Sugar Hill Gang to her label. The song paired veteran New Orleans blues shouter Shirley Goodman with musician Jesus Alvarez for a raw call and response track built on a Bo Diddley beat so primal it felt ancient and brand new at the same time. And here is the backstory that makes this record legendary. Robinson had already laid down the entire backing track before she even found Shirley Goodman, who at that moment was working a desk job in the offices of Playboy magazine, essentially retired from music after nearly 2 decades away from the spotlight. Shame, shame, shame. Then went to #1 in Austria, Belgium, Germany, and the Netherlands. An almost unheard of European sweep for an American R&B act in 1975. The follow-up single died at #91. One explosive comeback, one crowning moment, one retirement that ended just long enough to change history. Number 3, Love Won't Let Me Wait, Major Harris.
Recently recorded by Mr. Luther Vandross.
Number 3, Major Harris, Love Won't Let Me Wait. Released in March 1975 on Atlantic Records.
Lord have mercy. Play it pretty for the ladies.
A slow-burning Philadelphia soul ballad that climbed to number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100, topped the R&B chart for 1 week in June, went certified gold, and became the quiet storm standard by which all subsequent bedroom soul would eventually be measured.
Ladies, don't say no.
Written by Vinnie Barrett and Bobby Eli, the same Philly songwriting and production partnership behind Blue Magic's Sideshow and a string of other soul classics.
In more ways than one.
The record was cut at Sigma Sound Studios in Philadelphia with the legendary MFSB session band providing the music. The moaning, sighing female backing vocals came from session singer Barbara Ingram, and they drift beneath Harris's silky tenor like smoke. The studio was reportedly lit at near darkness for the entire session, a deliberate atmospheric decision by the producers that transformed what could have been a routine recording into something that felt like a confession.
Oh, baby. Now.
Harris had paid enormous dues. Years with the Charmers, a brief stint with Frankie Lyman's Teenagers, then a long tenure as tenor in the Delphonics.
Take a little.
By 1975, he was in his late 20s, finally standing alone in a real spotlight.
And I will selfishly.
1 gold record, 1 million copies sold, and then the hit stopped, and he went back to the Delphonics. One song that said everything.
No.
Number 2, Lady Marmalade, Labelle. Number 2, Labelle, Patti LaBelle, Nona Hendrix, and Sarah Dash, with Lady Marmalade. Released in November 1974, climbing to number 1 on both the Billboard Hot 100 and the Billboard Hot Soul Singles chart by March 29, 1975, replacing a song written by the same songwriting team that wrote it. Written by Bob Crewe and Kenny Nolan, the same duo whose My Eyes Adored You had topped the Hot 100 just 1 week before, making Crewe and Nolan only the 3rd writing team in Billboard history to replace themselves at number 1. Lady Marmalade was produced by New Orleans legend Alan Toussaint, with the meters providing the rhythm. French lyrics, funk architecture, Crescent City soul. As Patti LaBelle has famously and repeatedly said, she had absolutely no idea what she was singing, that nobody told her, "Voulez-vous coucher avec moi ce soir?" was an explicit sexual invitation, until long after the record had already gone to number one. The song entered the Grammy Hall of Fame in 2003. The Library of Congress preserved it in the National Recording Registry. Labelle, this version of Labelle, never charted in the Pop Top 10 again. They broke up in 1977, but for one glittering, scandalous, theatrically magnificent moment in early 1975, they owned the entire world. Number 1, Lovin' You, Minnie Riperton. And our number 1 is Minnie Riperton, Lovin' You. Released as a single on January 13th, 1975 on Epic Records, it climbed slowly. 12 weeks of steady, unstoppable ascent to peak at number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100 on April 5th, 1975. One of the first percussionless songs in the entire chart's history to reach the very top. No drums, no rhythm section, just a guitar, a keyboard, birdsong, and a voice from another dimension.
The colors that you bring, please.
Written by Riperton and her husband Richard Rudolph in 1971 as a literal lullaby for their infant daughter Maya. Yes, the Maya Rudolph who would become an SNL legend. The song was co-produced by Stevie Wonder, appearing uncredited under the pseudonym El Toro Negro due to his Motown contract.
And we will live each day.
Wonder plays every keyboard note, and Riperton's whistle register vocals reach frequencies that no other singer in the history of the pop chart had ever dared attempt.
Beautiful. And every day.
The documentary beat here is quietly devastating. While Lovin' You was still climbing toward number 1, Riperton had already received her cancer diagnosis. She became a national spokeswoman for the American Cancer Society. She kept recording, she kept singing. She died on July 12, 1979, at 31 years old. One lullaby, one voice like nothing that existed before or has existed since. A song written to help a baby sleep that became the number 1 record in America. And a goodbye that nobody in the world knew was already being said. 10 songs, 10 moments, 10 artists who walked up to history with everything they had and left something permanent behind, even when the follow-up never came. That is what 1975 sounds like when soul music is firing on every cylinder, raw, searching, fearless, and alive. Now, I want to hear from you. Drop your personal number 1 in the comments below. Maybe it is on our list. Maybe it is a 1975 groove we missed entirely. If this episode moved you, smash that like button and subscribe to Groove Lens. Next time, we go even deeper into the decade. The soul does not stop here.